Hello, welcome to Nezzo's Bat Shop. It's your host Nezzo. This is the Rookie Drift 2.0 Shakedown. And I've got my buddy Sam here from Deep Strictly Sideways, driving the Rookie Drift 2.0. And my first initial impression is, I love it. I really like it a lot. And for good reason, because it has lots of performance. As you can see, tons of angle available. The suspension's working pretty well as well. The stock shocks, which are from the old YD2 days, plastic shocks, but the spring, that RDS spring, the Rookie Drift spring, the all black one, it seems to be more on the softer side, medium soft. Look at the sendos we get. It's epic. I'm gonna go a little closer in a minute, but as you can see, yeah, this thing handles corners without hesitation or effort. And stays on line really nicely, handles our gutter runoff areas extremely well. Oops. As you're going to see here in a second, look at it. You can really chuck it in. Look at it. Bang, perfect. Feels quite balanced as well, and it's really straightforward to drive. I'd say easy to drive, and it's very nice on the casual sense. If I give you a long shot here. You got the boost electronics enabled, partial backy as well. So basically, the Rookie Drift 2, Yokomo got it right. And this thing, in my opinion, I'm going to say it right now, it's as good as an RDX. It's as good as. I wouldn't say better, but I will say as good as. Look how hard we can throw this thing in to the corner. And I'd say if we put the two cars head to head in a box comparison, they will be pretty damn close. So, I'm not saying this is better, but this is as good as an RDX, and this is all out of the box tuning as well. This is no tuning by me, except for 3mm of preload on the shock, which we always have to do. But yeah, look at the level of send. It's quite good, and that's lock stoppered too. So the geometry has definitely been improved. The lower arms are different. As I was saying in the unbox, many improvements. And it's as good as an RDX. And in Canadian dollars, it's $90 cheaper here. The RDX is $420, which is the most highest price point for a budget class car. This car is priced at $330 Canadian here at the Strictly Sideways Club. So there's good value here, and the money you save getting this car, for example, you can put into other things like electronics or even some part upgrades right away. Which, yeah, I don't even think you need to right away, because it just drives so good, so immediately. Yeah, everyone I've given it to, the few people I gave it to tonight, tried to try it, just loved it. And there's a 360 entry, pretty much just nice and smooth, full of effort. Look at it. Bam. I think Sammy's starting to have fun with it now. Which I don't blame him, because we were all starting to have fun with it, trying to send it a little harder. I believe I put the gyro at 60%. We had it at 55, but 60 gives us a nice balance. Like, look at that. Look at how hard that is. I'm going to try and get one of these hard sendos and get sort of right up close to it if I can, as he throws through. Switchbacks are good. And yeah, you can really push the high angle on this just like an RDX. As well. Look at that. It's quite good. So it really reminds me of the SD2 as well in terms of the balance and sort of feel. But in terms of immediate comparison to something in its class, yeah, it's the RDX and it's as good as. And the praise really doesn't get higher than that. As you watch it go through, dipping into the gutter. And I mean, yeah, Sam's even punching the boost here and there. Got a BL Pro 4 ESC in it. I have DX1 Yoko motor in it. A V3 OMG gyro, which is single mode with endpoint adjustment. I do single mode just more of for a rookie sense of the setup. But a multi-mode gyro would be quite good as well. And of course, the Bat Shop Predator LP16 servo to cap it all off. And yeah, look at it. It's just smooth. So if I give you a little bit of an overlook here, when Sammy comes back, he gave me a little 360. I'll stop him on the next pass too. He's just really enjoying it. But after I stop talking about the car, when we get it on the close-up here, I'll put a body on it, we'll do a bit more lapping, and then you'll get to see it with a body on it, and you get to see the amount of weight shift going on. But the 3mm I stuck preload here, that feels really nice. 3mm up here as well. There's a good amount of shift throughout the car, a good amount of side roll as well. And yeah, overall I'm really enjoying it in terms of the feel and everything. And yeah, like I keep saying, as good as an RDX. There's a lot of things here that do remind me about it. And even though it is, I'll say less expensive, because cheaper is not the nicest word, you do get good value because RDX doesn't have adjustable links here. And it doesn't have a gear differential, which this has in the rear. This does. So there's a few little subtle differences like that. But yeah, I'd say the RDX just has like a teensy tiny, little bit more performance out of the box. But we're talking like tenths of seconds and like, you know, hundreds of thousands of performance points difference. It's very, very tiny. So this is why I'm saying this is as good as. But for the money, this is probably now, I would say in 2024, the best bang for buck, because it's $90 less Canadian than an RDX. But head to head, I think these would be pretty dang close. So that's my goal as well, is to do some up close comparison as well. So I'm going to shove a body on it real quick and then get some body shots of the thing driving. But yeah, I'm very impressed. The MD SD style transmission's working very good. Placement's good. Balance is good. Car just rocks. And we are running it on the Strictly Sideways Edition P-Tile Yokomo tire. And these ones right here, if you'll notice, see that S? That's a spelling mistake. So these are limited edition 1 of 100 Strictly Sideways Club P-Tile tires. Alright, here it is with a body on it. I chose a Yokomo Super A90. This is one of the newer offerings from Yokomo. It's 200mm, and this particular one was, this came in one of the Yokomo, or the Yokomo YD2Z RTR that I used to have. So I put some stickers on it a while ago, forgot about it, and here it is, it's back. But you can see that it fits the geometry of the body posts pretty much bang on. I made one, the rear body posts, I've adjusted the fitment just to get it to fit the pre-drilled holes on this body, but it dropped right on. And I had to do no other adjustments other than select the pin height for the body posts. And now we have a glorious body on this car, the Rookie Drift 2, and you can really get a sense of what it looks like with the body on, but also when the boost and brake is applied, you can see the weight shift action going on and how the springs are reacting, which is really good. And yeah, I'm very impressed. Yokomo did their homework. They sat down, they thought of some stuff. I mean, they even put the screws back into the part assembly bag, so it's like bag 4 and the screws you need are in the bag. They're no longer in a separate, silly, standalone bag. So big pluses all around, and yeah, this thing just, it's a monster. Like, it is definitely as good as the RDX, and will be a contender for 2024. Look at that backy entry, able to recover it nicely. And yeah. Even with the body on it, it just looks so smooth and elegant, to be honest. Nice entry angles, nice exit angles. See the suspension working on the gutter over there. I'll try and get another shot of that if he goes through it again this lap. Get a couple more close-up shots as I stand here and chat for you. But yeah, there is a good amount of parts available for this car because it's got a good amount of YD2 base in it and a good amount of the SD. Yeah, you see that damping? The SD and MD line, a good amount of parts from those cars will fit this car, and a bunch of predecessor YD2 parts, as I've already said. So that's a very good thing for this car, unlike some other manufacturers, which just, I don't understand what they're doing with their parts these days, and so it's kind of hard to judge whether their cars will be around in 6 months or not. But this car, I can think, will be around for at least a good year or two, because it's part of the new generational lineup. There's a 360, effortless, smooth as F. Oh yeah. And that's out of the box, and we could pretty much do that with the RDX. I remember doing that. A lot of fun gutter sendos, 360 entries, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this car definitely earns a 4.5 out of 5 stars, that's for sure. Why not a full 5 stars? Well, it's just because it's it's box tuned, and there's tiny little things that not really, like, I wouldn't say annoyed me, but I just looked at it as like, oh, they haven't changed that sort of a thing or whatever. But this is just little building details, or finding that some YD2 parts are still used, but actually it works out pretty good here still. And that's mostly because the front end is still, I'd say, 85 to 90% YD2. Shock tower, bulkhead. The upper arms are a plastic version of the aluminum ones available around the SX3 lineage. Things like that. Little tiny little things, but overall it's, 4 to 5, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I would have given the RDX the same thing had I been talking about star ratings or things like that. Because the RDX does have a couple little weaknesses, whereas the RDX is prone to more understeer from the out-of-box tune it has. This car is prone to, I'd say, a little bit more oversteer than understeer out of the box. But either way, they both sort of balance out in all the other performance gains that you get with this car. So, yes. Gonna let Sam do a couple more sendos and then we're good to go, but yeah, I can definitely, look at this, look at it. Ooh. you can literally chuck this thing in super hard, just like the RDX. But if we're saying this still has, I am saying, with the amount of YD2 still in it, in the front end and stuff like that, I will say that this is sort of the best out-of-box driving YD2 partially flavored car to date. Which this would even give out-of-the-box performance-wise the MD 1.0 colored and the SD 2.0 run for its money. This car is definitely better than all of the Super Drift 1.0s that came out. And the Rookie Drift 1.0, because that was just a YD2Z. But this is definitely an evolution. Look at that, look at it. Yeah. Without having to use a ton of boost either, so I mean it's so good. So I can't wait to compare it to other things on track with multiple drivers and stuff. And gonna do some bench comparisons to the other chassis and stuff for sure. And I'll do a constructor's digest because this build actually went through pretty straightforward. So there's a few things that I'd like to people to pay attention and note, because I measured the front steering links a little bit off, and I ended up having them about almost 2 millimeters out of spec, which gave me too much toe in, but that was my fault. I messed up the measuring procedure for that. So I fixed it here at the track, and look at it. Look at it, it's just a monster. So, yep. So a big shout out to Sammy from Strictest Highways there, driving the car. He's fallen in love. He even said, just before we got into the second part, he said, had this car came out around the time of the RDX, or when he was ready to buy his RDX a couple months ago or whatever it was, he said the decision would have been very, very hard because of how well this Rookie Drift 2 is driving. So, yeah, he's not sure, given the choice of both cars, if he had the availability at the time to buy either the Rookie Drift 2 or the Reed RDX, he said his decision would be pretty difficult because of how well this is driving right now in out-of-box form. Once we tune this, sky's the limit, just like the RDX. But a few of us were talking about it, and I guess this is worth mentioning as well. From the box, tuning perspective, we have a few more immediate options on this car versus the RDX, mostly because this has turnbuckles and ball cups instead of fixed links. A fixed link ball cup rod type thing. So there's a bit more tunability that way, and even though there's a good amount of RDX parts on the market, this car with the few bits of YD2 infusory spice still in it, you have the back catalog of YD2 based parts and all the other option parts available. So, yeah, so there's little things like that. But I mean, yeah, I can't wait to compare them head to head, and yeah, just excited to drive it more. And we even threw this in tandem a little bit with some of the guys, and I drove this alongside a couple tuned RDXs and an MD1 and a couple other things quickly on the track here, and this had no problem hanging with the tuned cars, whether it was an RDX, an MC1, YD2, whatever. It didn't matter. It was having no trouble hanging out with it. It was just how hard we wanted to drive it. On the equal same spec tire for the track, the P-Tail tire. And everybody was majorly impressed. The harder they drove it, the more they got out of it. So, yep, Gonna get that battery a bit more killed, but that's basically it for the shakedown. And 100% I can recommend this car, and if you haven't driven one and a friend's got one, ask them politely if they'd let you drive it, because it's worth it and it's a lot of fun. Kind of brings me back as well, like the RDX. When I drove that, it brought me back to the original YD2 when we first drove that, and we were backing that on a tile track. Me and Leo Z back at Cosmo RC in 2016, late 2016, yeah. And that was when the YD2 came out, the Plus and Basic. And yeah, that was a big evolution then, and the RDX is a new revolution, and this car right here is continuing the revolution and the new era, so to say. Even though it still has bits of the past, still remnants in it from, you know, a couple years ago, whatever. And the old heritage of the YD2, it's evolving, and now it's actually evolving into a more newer generational area. So yeah, look at that. Sam's even going the other way now because he just wants to send it and try things. But I'm gonna hammer this car more out on Saturday. Try to get a box RDX around or something. Do some more tests, and we'll go from there. But yes, thank you for watching. If you've watched all the way through, like, comment, subscribe. Big shout out to Sammy from Strictly Sideways and the Strictly Sideways Club for sending this bad boy around the track. And expect more comparisons and other good things. But yes, 100% recommendation. And everyone else here liked it so far, and can't wait to pass it around on Saturday and let everyone else send it and this and that. But yep, I can definitely recommend it. So if you're thinking of getting one, go right ahead. Basically, here's the thing. If you're looking for good, great performance, out of box, bang for buck, you now have two choices, the RDX and this. Because this is as good as an RDX. So say an RDX isn't in stock, but this is, you can get this and rest assured you have made a good choice. If this isn't in stock and an RDX is, well, okay, get an RDX. But if they're both in stock, the choice is really up to you. But bang for buck, this is more affordable by Canadian dollar, $90 here at the Strictly Sideways Club. So food for thought, but yeah, they're both very good recommended cars, but this bad boy is worth it and is the real deal. The hype is real, and yes, you can believe it. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more coming up. Bye-bye.